Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Bellator Middleweight Keith Berry. Keith, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Keith, the name of the game is really random. That's where I ask you a random question and you give me the real answer. Some of these questions are custom made just for you, and some of these questions are generic ones that I ask all the people I interview. So, here's the first question. Superpower you'd love to have?
Superpower I'd love to have. I'd have to say, if I could have any superpower, I'd love to fly. Because, I think that would be pretty sick. I mean, you could just fly around all over the place. You don't have to use a car anymore. Maybe you could pick one of your friends up, fly around somewhere else. I mean, I think that would be one of the coolest superpowers you could have. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of cool superpowers, but I think I'll have to go with the flying one for sure.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I think it's between The Fifth Element and Fight Club.
Favorite color?
Favorite color? Blue.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
Chocolate souffle from Cheesecake Factory or Yard House.
Keith, you have a fight coming up January 21st at Bellator 170. How's training been going for the fight?
Training's been really good. I'm happy to announce I'm injury-free, and I'm peaking right about this week, so I'll calm it down this next week and just kind of tune up, do some things with my coaches, and just, a little fine-tuning stuff. But, yeah, it's one of the better training camps I've had, and I haven't fought in a little while, so it's going to feel really good to get back in there and, throw some blows with this guy.
In preparation for this fight, have you done this entire training camp at Extreme Couture, or did you start this camp at Team Quest?
Yeah, I started at Team Quest. That's kind of my home gym. I live in Marietta, California, and Team Quest is in Temecula. And I've known Dan Henderson and Sam Alvey for a long time. So I was at Rain in Orange County for a little bit, and I left Rain, and I've been at Team Quest for the rest of the year. And also, Extreme has been one of the first gyms I started off when I was 18 or 19. So I come back here to kind of finish off my camp, and this is where my head coach is. So this is like my second home over here in Vegas, and all the guys at Extreme Couture help me out a lot. It's like my second family over here.
Years ago, when you first started training at Extreme Couture, it was a who's who of MMA. There were so many great fighters that trained out of that gym. Nowadays, there aren't as many big names as there once was, but there still are a lot of high-level athletes that train there. So, who's been helping you get ready for this fight? Who are some of the guys that you've been training with, and who are some of the coaches that have been helping you out?
Mostly coaching over here, as I say, Eric Nixick and Dennis Davis. And then training partner-wise, there's a ton of training partners. Mike Arand has helped me a lot. Danny Davis has also helped me. Dave Minzani, and big names. I don't know. Not as many big names, but sorry, there's a plane going over my head right now. So
that's all right.
All right. Sorry about that. But I can't really think off the top of my head all the guys I've been training with, but everyone that's been actively training at Couture this last week or two, and then a couple weeks prior to this. I just feel like Extreme has a lot of good bodies and a lot of good guys. And then mostly back home, Sam Alvey and Sean Strickland really helped me a lot for this fight. And it's kind of me and those two guys doing round robins a lot at Team Quest. So I've got a lot of good work. It's been a really good training camp for me.
During your career, you've trained at many different gyms. You've trained at Team Quest, you've trained at Extreme Couture, you've trained at Rain Training Center. Many years ago, you trained at LA Boxing. So you've been to quite a few gyms throughout your career. I'm curious as to why. Why have you been to so many different gyms? Is that because you just love cross-training and getting different looks? Is it because of paranoia and you're worried that you're going to be missing out on something, so you have to go to every gym that you can possibly go to because you want to just learn as much as you can? Or is that because you just can't get everything you need at one gym? Why have you been so into cross-training throughout your career?
Basically, I started off at Couture's, and then I don't really know. I think I've kind of I like to travel. I don't like to stay in one spot for too long, and I'm kind of a gypsy at heart, so I kind of move around and like to train with different people in different places. But this last couple of years, I've been really trying to hone it down just to Extreme and Team Quest. Basically, those are the two gyms that I really come in my own at, and I trust the coaches, and I trust my training partners, so that's kind of what I'm sticking with. I was with Rain for a while in Orange County, and that was an amazing gym, but they shut down, so that kind of pushed me out of there and went back to Team Quest, and I'd say, but the main reason is I'm just a gypsy. I just like to go train different places and check out different areas, and I don't like to stay in one spot.
Who's going to be cornering you for the fight?
It's going to be Eric Magana, the wrestling coach that I've been with for a long time, and Jamie Huey. He's my main head coach. He's the boxing coach out of Extreme Couture here in Vegas.
You haven't fought since October of 2014. There's multiple reasons why you haven't fought in 2 years. One of the reasons why you haven't fought is because you've been suspended, and the other reason is what? Why haven't you fought in 2 years? I know you've had some fights that have been scheduled. Why haven't these fights taken place? Is it because you've been injured? Is it because your opponents have been injured? Is it because the shows have been canceled? Why haven't you fought in 2 years?
Well, in the beginning, fights were canceled earlier last year because of my opponents getting injury or my opponents just falling out. And at just the very last camp, I was supposed to have my third fight camp that got canceled in August of last year, and it got hurt because I was sparring, and it was kind of a freak thing. I ended up tearing my groin, just slipping on some sweat in the cage one day. So it was really weird, but that kind of put me back a couple months, and it took me out of the game. But yeah, it has been a little bit of a layoff, but I mean, I fight in the gym all the time. It's nothing new for me. It's 15 minutes, so we go in there and, you put up or shut up, kind of like, you know what I mean? It's not going to be that big of a ring rust thing. People talk about ring rust, but I don't know. I'll have to get back in there and see if that's true. But I personally don't think it's true, and I feel on point, and I feel really ready for this fight.
Originally, your last fight was a win by split decision, but it was overturned by the California State Athletic Commission because you failed a post-fight drug test, so it was changed to a no contest. How long were you suspended? Were you suspended for a year, 6 months? How long?
I was suspended for 9 months.
Did you have to pay a fine?
Yeah, I had to pay a $2,500 fine, which actually Bellator paid that for me on this fight. So, I mean, they don't really cover it for me. They're going to take that out of my purse. So $2,500. So a little bit of a hefty fine, but it is what it is. I made some mistakes. I made some choices that I shouldn't have been doing, and I have to cop up and pay for those.
What did you test positive for? Was it just marijuana?
It was marijuana, and I was using testosterone at the time.
Oh.
So it was both. So if I was just tested positive for marijuana, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal, because I've heard of people, just getting kind of a slap on the wrist and a fine, and they actually still keep their win for California, especially because I have my medical license. But yeah, I was kind of introduced by a doctor when I was younger and did all my levels, and I got kind of coaxed into, doing some testosterone, and, kind of got out of hand. So it was a good thing for me, and I've learned a lot from it, and been, I don't know, more than 2 years since I've touched any of that bullshit. And that stuff is bad for the sport, and taught me a lot about myself and about the sport. And, but the marijuana, I'm hoping that, I think Nevada was reviewing it today, and California will do the same because it is legal now. I think that shouldn't be on the banned substance list at all, because, it's a great anti-inflammatory. It has tons of other health benefits, and I've been clean for the last month, and I really don't see any benefit from stopping. And I understand if you're high during a fight, that shouldn't be legal, but during your training camp and downtime, I don't think it's a big deal if you're smoking a joint, basically.
Why do you smoke it? Is it just because you enjoy it and you like doing it, or is it because of the medical benefits? Why exactly do you smoke this?
Yeah, there is a lot of medical benefits, and I've had my medical license for about 3 years now. I just ran into a lot of injuries over the last 10 years, and I had another doctor that was trying to get me on some painkillers, and I just never could take those, and they were just so detrimental to my health, and I just was on them maybe for one month, and they're just horrible for you. And then somebody else turned me on to marijuana, and that works way better. And, I mean, I could function during the day. I could do everything. I would just use it at night to go to bed and help with pain relief, and it helps a lot. So, I'm looking forward to see what happens with California State Athletic Commission and Nevada State Athletic Commission, hoping they're going to remove that ban off the banned substance list, and things are going to get a little more progressive in that sense.
Now, on January 21st, you're going to be fighting Kevin Casey. What are your thoughts about him as an opponent?
I was really excited when they offered me to fight. Bellator was looking to give me a fight over summer, and it didn't end up happening, so I kind of just kept training and ended up getting hurt and got back into it. And then when they first gave me the call about Kevin Casey, I was excited. I mean, I don't know him as a person or anything, but I kind of looked him up and watched some fights, and my main training partner, Sam Alvey, back at Team Quest, was his last fight. So it gave me a lot of insight, and I felt like I had a little bit of an upper hand because I had somebody that just fought him recently and beat him. And a lot of people, and also my coach coached him on The Ultimate Fighter, so my main coach has some experience being around him, knows a lot about him. So I feel like if anything, I have a lot of people around me that know him very well, and it kind of gave me some good inside knowledge that's going to help me out during this fight. And he gets tired. That's about it. I mean, you can watch any of his fights, and if you watch him on The Ultimate Fighter, yeah, he just gets tired. So he's a big guy. He has a lot of muscle on him, and I'm walking around at 190 pounds, if that. So this is going to be, I'm not going to cut any weight at all. I have my cardio. I've just been running for the last 2 years after my suspension, and just kind of, working everything out through my mind and getting straight with everything. And I feel better than ever. So I think it's going to be a big advantage on my part that I'm not going to cut any weight, and I'm going to come in there fresh and ready to go. I might be a lot smaller than him, but that second and third round I think is going to really, really be good for me.
What do you think his camp is telling him to do against you in this fight?
I've thought about that. I'm always wondering, because everyone wants to give me their 2 cents of what they think about Kevin, and then I wonder what people say about me, but I don't know. They might be overlooking me. I've had a lot of fights, and I've kind of grew up in the sport of MMA, and I've taken a lot of fights when I wasn't in the best shape, or I've taken fights for money, or just kind of, I've done some dumb things. I've kind of done it all wrong, so I know what to do right now. So, yeah, I'm just looking to use all my strengths against him, and I have a lot of heart, so I'm looking to just make this a dirty fight and take it wherever it needs to go, and I just don't want to be on the ground with him. He's a big guy, and he's very good jiu-jitsu, so, stay off the ground and keep it on the feet and make it dirty and land often.
Now, level with me here, Keith. Are you really going to walk out to Kevin Casey's rap song, No Surrender? Are you really going to troll him like that?
You know what? I was going to, and I tried to run it by Bellator, but apparently, I guess they're not. They didn't approve of that. They said the song has to be on iTunes, and they kind of shut me down on that. That was last week. They shut me down on that. So unfortunately, I'm not. I thought that would be funny. I just thought it was a little ironic because, I mean, I'm not saying this about Kevin Casey, but everyone that tells me about, that wants to tell me, I don't ask people's opinion, but people want to tell me their opinion on Kevin Casey. They tell me that he gets tired fast and that he gasses out. He doesn't have a lot of heart. So I thought the song was kind of fitting for all people's opinions. But either way, I mean, if he has tons of heart, he comes in superb shape. I mean, I'm in great shape, and it's an interesting fight. I haven't been fighting the last 2 years, and I think that I'm really hungry and I'm ready. And it's all about mental for me, and a lot of fights I wasn't mentally sound, and this fight I'm more mentally prepared than I ever was, and physically I'm also very prepared as well. No injuries and all that, so I feel really, really good about this fight.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot, and you have to pick one, because I know in the past you've trained with both these guys. Who do you think wins the main event at Bellator 170 on January 21st? Chael Sonnen or Tito Ortiz? Who wins and why?
You are putting me on the spot, aren't you? I like both the guys. I like Chael a little more. And my coach is really in with Chael, and he was the coach for the Ultimate Fighter with Chael, and I've been around Chael a lot more. So I'm going to say Chael, and I'm just going to say that because I think when they were in college, I think Chael beat him. I think Chael has a little edge mentally, but I wouldn't count Tito out. I mean, Tito's a tough guy. He's a legend of the sport, and I'm honored just to be fighting on the same card with these guys, and I think it's a fun card and a fun fight, and whoever wins, the best man will win. Yeah, but if I had $1 million someone gave me, say, hey, look, you can keep the $1 million. If you put it on either one, which guy would you choose? I'd probably say Chael.
Could you even think of a better scenario for you to make your return into MMA? Because you've been out for 2 years, but now you're returning on this massive card, and you're fighting a guy who people know. You know, he was on The Ultimate Fighter. He just got out of the UFC. Is this the best case scenario? Could you have thought of a bigger...
If you think about it, it's kind of like a fight that, I don't know. I don't want to say I don't deserve it, but a lot of people kind of put that in my ear a little bit. So I'm really appreciative with Bellator, and I've worked really hard to get where I'm at, and I'm happy they gave me this fight. And it's kind of one of those moments where people are like, oh, okay, they might count me out, and then all of a sudden I beat this guy's ass, and they're like, oh, shit. It kind of changed people's minds. So that's what I'm looking to do, just throw a wrench in it and change people's minds of how they see me and how they see this fight.
Hobbies outside of fighting?
Outside of fighting, I like snowboarding a lot, traveling, that's about it. Like hiking, mountain biking. I like to do a lot of active things that still keep me in shape, that are fun. So I'd say, yeah, mountain biking, snowboarding, and hiking. Those are my three things that I like to do outside when I'm not fighting and training.
Do you have any pre-fight rituals or superstitions?
No, not really. This week, I'm just kind of tune everything up for my camp, and I'm going to listen to a bunch of motivational stuff and meditate a little bit, just get real calm and do some yoga. That's it. Just kind of stay focused.
Do you have any post-fight rituals?
Post-fight rituals? Well, after this fight, I haven't been smoking any marijuana, so I'm probably going to smoke a lot of marijuana after this fight, honestly. Post-fight, and that's about it. I'm gonna go probably do something with my girlfriend and smoke and go to the beach and relax. So that's what I'm looking to do post-fight. It's funny because I don't. It's hard to even think about post-fight because every fight, and I don't know if this is how it is for other fighters, but that fight is really, I don't really see past that day. I don't plan anything past that day. It's almost like you live and die on that day because it's a kind of a big deal in my life. It's something that I've been training a lot for, and MMA I've been really, really passionate about, and that day is really all that's in my mind. And then after that day, then I think about other things to do or whatnot.
Besides fighting, what are you passionate about?
I really enjoy real estate and kind of the art of sales and just kind of talking to people. I'm a little bit of a people person, so I like that. I'm passionate about that. It's something that I could do while I'm training, and it's one of those careers that you could kind of do for your whole life, and you never stop learning about the business, about real estate, commercial, and residential. So, it's another thing I'm passionate about. Other than that, I sound boring now that I'm talking out loud and thinking about this. I don't really have any other passions. I mean, MMA has been a real big passion of mine for a long time, even though I haven't, even when I look back at some things I've done, I haven't done everything that I've wanted to do and this and that, but no, I'd say another big passion of mine is just the art of sales and real estate in general.
Celebrity people say you look like?
What's that guy from Avatar? Everyone, when that movie came out, everyone used to tell me that I looked like that guy, but I don't even remember the guy's name. So I'm bad with celebrities' names. Maybe it's Sam Worthington. Yeah, Sam Worthington.
Okay, Sam Worthington. All right, I can see it.
There you go. Kind of see that.
Go-to song when you're singing in the shower?
I don't really sing, and I don't sing in the shower, but
okay.
if I were to sing a song in the shower, I guess it would be Coheed and Cambria, Welcome Home, but I don't really sing it, I just hum it,
Okay.
But I suck at singing, so it's definitely not a strong point of mine as a person.
If you could trade places with anyone in the world for a week, who would you trade places with, and why?
That's a good question. If I could trade places with anyone in the world, who would I trade places with? I think I'd trade places with Dan Bilzerian. I think I would like to see what it's like to have that much money and do that much crazy shit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a week would be just enough to suffice pretty much everything that I would want to do with that guy's life.
Yeah, he's quite a character, that guy.
Yeah, he is. Him or Joe Rogan. Either one.
Yeah.
Maybe I would do Joe Rogan before he had kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Learn that spinning sidekick or turning sidekick or whatever. Bring that into your game.
Jesus Christ, that is the most powerful kick I've seen, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. I'd love to see Joe actually compete against somebody else. I'd love to see Joe against CM Punk. Wouldn't that be an interesting fight?
I don't know why they didn't do that. That's the fight to make. I would love to see that.
I would love to see that. I think a lot of people would pay to see that. That would be a huge draw.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that. That's like the obvious fight to make. Maybe they didn't do it because it's too obvious. Maybe it's that. I don't know.
Could be right.
It's perfect.
Right.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
If you could stay one age forever, how old would you stay and why?
I'd say 26, because you're kind of like just hitting your prime and you still have your little boy strength and you're kind of getting your old man strength, a little bit of both worlds, and I had a lot of fun when I was 26. Not that I'm not having a lot of fun now, but I think I'm kind of coming to my own and maturing a little bit more, so things are a little different now. I have a little bit different mental outlook, but yeah, I'd say 26.
Your girlfriend is Nicole Aniston. How long have you two been together?
We've been together for about maybe 10 months now, coming up on a year. I've known her since 7th grade, and we kind of talked a little bit back in 2012, and we didn't really vibe that good, but then somehow we kind of reconnected, and kind of on a friend level at first, and then turned a lot more serious than that. Now I live with her over in Marietta, and I've really never ever been with a girl like her, and I don't know what people on the outside kind of think and what their thoughts are, but she is literally the most amazing woman that I've ever been with, that I've ever been around, and she's fucking way smarter than me. She's way into her athletics. She just has all her shit together, and she's gorgeous, and I just really appreciate her company and everything about her. So that's another thing that's kind of helped me come into my own. She's just a really supportive partner, in general, and really an awesome human being, and I can't wait to just spend more time with her and kind of see where everything takes us.
I'm very interested to hear about this because I thought she was dating Chad White, and I remember hearing an interview that she was doing when she was promoting an appearance that she was doing, a feature dancing appearance that she was going to be making at Blush nightclub in Pittsburgh. So I looked her up on Twitter, and then I saw a picture of her and this guy, and she was talking about how this was her boyfriend, and I looked at the guy and I go, I know this guy. How do I know him? I've seen him before. And then I remembered, oh yeah, that's Keith Berry. Fought in Strikeforce, fought in Bellator, was the King of the Cage champion, fought in the old WEC. I remember this guy. I know who this guy is. So I had to hear about that because I was interested. I want to know how this all came together because I remember seeing that and being like, it is you. So I had to ask you about that.
No worries. Yeah, she's just awesome. Yeah, I went with her out in Pittsburgh. We've traveled a lot together this last year, and everything kind of just fell into place with us. And I don't want to say like all that meant to be and all that kind of shit, but I mean, it kind of seems that way, and everything has kind of been great. I mean, the girl doesn't get mad about anything. She's just so nice and sweet 24/7. I mean, it's been awesome. I've been with I wouldn't say a lot of girls. I guess maybe some people would say a lot of girls, but I've been with some different girls over the years, and most of them head cases. And this is the first chick that I've been with that really got it all, and I haven't really found any holes in her as a person. Not that I'm looking for them, but
sure.
Yeah, I'm just really happy with her and happy with both of us. But I had an interest in her a while ago, and we didn't really connect as much. And then it was like about a year ago, in December of 2015, that I kind of started talking to her a little bit again, and then just on a friend level, and then we just started hanging out. We both kind of changed a little bit as people, and it just seemed to really match up really well. So it's been amazing this last almost a year with her, and we live together now, so it's kind of serious. It's serious, I guess you could get, but I don't think of it that serious because she's so cool all the time. So it's like it's continuously in that stage of a fun dating stage, but we're in a serious relationship. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, cool.
Now, I've always been fascinated by the mixed martial arts industry as well as the porn industry. I've always been fascinated by that industry because part of it is because I think it's funny, like the acting that's in it and the storylines and all that kind of stuff. Like, I have a different outlook on the industry than most people, and I'm not going to lie to anyone. I do watch that stuff, and one of my goals, dreams, whatever you want to call it, one thing that I really like to do is be the red carpet interviewer or the backstage interviewer at the AVNs. I think that would be really fun because I know all the companies, I know all the actors and actresses and all those people, so I think I could do that job. But I've always been fascinated by that industry for many different reasons, and another reason that I've always been fascinated by it is because these people are very good businessmen and women, because how do you make money at an industry that's dying? And how do you make money in an industry where everyone's trying to steal from? And these people are very creative in coming up with ways to make money. So I've always respected these people for that. And I know people have a bad outlook on that industry, but I've always respected those people for that because I really do think they're good businessmen and women because they're able to come up with these ideas and they're on the cutting edge. A lot of this stuff, we went from VHS to DVD now to Blu-ray because of the porn industry. I didn't know that until a few years ago, but that's why we rejected beta and we embraced VHS because of the porn industry. So I've always been fascinated by stuff like that, and I always thought, and this is, I'm sure, gonna upset a lot of people, and I'm sure this is a very crazy theory, but go with me on this. I always thought that porn and MMA was a good mix, and here's why. Because let's use you and your girlfriend as an example. Look at you. Right now, you're in training camp, and let's face it, MMA, combat sports, they're very selfish, and that's not a bad thing. A lot of people would hear that and say, selfish, that's bad, but because of the way this sport is set up, you have to be selfish to be a successful fighter. You have to get the proper training in, you have to get the proper rest, you have to eat certain things. You can't eat certain things. Like, there's so much different stuff going on, and you have to be committed. You have to make these sacrifices, and it takes up a lot of time. You're training 2 or 3 times a day. And look at yourself right now. You're in Las Vegas, but you live in California. So you're away, and you're doing your training camp in a different state. So there's the time away, there's the time training, there's the diet, there's weight cutting. There's all these different things that factor in because the way the sport is set up, the athlete has to be selfish. So there's that. But then on her side, and this is why it's a good mix, because she can understand your life. Because yes, the two industries are completely different, but because of the lifestyle that both of those industries require, it makes for a good mix. Because on her side, maybe she'll be doing a movie on location in a different state or a different country, or maybe there's a convention in a different state and she has to be away, or maybe she's doing feature dancing in a different place, in a different state away from home, and you guys can't be together. So the traveling, and then again, you have your little part of being selfish because of the diet and the rest and all that kind of stuff. But her job requires you to not be jealous. So you can't have those little moments of jealousy. You have to understand that this is just a job for her. So there's the yin and the yang. There's a lot of differences between the two industries, but I'm seeing a lot of different similarities. And I know this is probably an insane theory, and a lot of people are like, who is this guy? He's crazy. But, stick with me. I think this is a good theory. I always thought that this is a good mix, and a lot of people would disagree, but I think I'm right. I think it is a good mix, and I'm seeing a lot of similarities.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I think you're right about that. It's kind of like I don't know. It's funny because if we break it down, she's in the business of love and pleasure, and I'm in the business of pain and hurting people.
Right.
So it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny in that sense. But no, we make it work, and she's really into her fitness too. So that was also something that I was really drawn to her, because she is so dedicated with all her working out and all her stuff, and I've never really been a jealous guy, so everything kind of worked out. And the way she takes her job, I mean, if you're top 10 in anything in the world, you got to have respect for that person.
Right.
And I would say she's definitely top 10 or maybe even top 5. I'm not sure. I'm not that into the porn industry. I don't know as much about it as some people, but yeah, she's done very well for herself, and there's nothing I could say to take that away from her or anything. I love her as a person and as a friend and as my girlfriend. So I support her 100%, and she supports me 100%. So it's great. I think a lot of people get this whole people give her shit sometimes about the whole War Machine thing. They don't know me, or they think I don't know, like I'm gonna beat the shit out of her, like War Machine or something. But if anyone knows me as a person, and I've known her since 7th grade, so I know her family. She knows my family. We've been around each other for a long time, and I've never been that type of guy, So it's a totally different thing. That's just the first thing that kind of pops in people's minds. That type of relationship. I think War Machine and Christy Mapp, they had kind of a volatile relationship, and I don't know all the ins and outs, but it didn't look as healthy as something that me and her name's Ashley. Nicole. I always forget that's her name. That's stage name. So, but it is. I think it is kind of a good mix. It sounds funny to say, but it is kind of a good mix, and I just feel like a really lucky guy, and I'm really happy that I met somebody that I could be with that's supportive of me, and I'm supportive of her.
Yeah, the War Machine thing, I hate that because I love my theory, but he screws it up. Because whenever I say this, they just point to War Machine, but the guy's a maniac. He really is. Yeah, he had the guy. I know you had a beef with him, so I'm glad you brought him up because I wanted to touch on that. But the guy had it made. He was a porn star by day and he was a fighter by night, and the guy pissed it away because he's a psycho. He did the upper decker on the Ultimate Fighter. That should have been a red flag. And then the second thing is, there was something he was doing where he was, instead of punching a wall, he punched himself, or something really bizarre he was doing. Like the guy, he's not wrapped too tight.
Yeah, he's. I have an interview with Adam Hunter. He's a friend of mine. He's a comedian. He does some podcasts and stuff. And I did an interview with him prior to this whole Christy Mapp thing. And I told him literally in the interview, I predicted. I said this fucking guy is so psycho and so crazy, and he's so out of his mind that he's either going to kill himself, he's going to end up in jail for life, or he's going to kill somebody. And he almost did all of that. Ends up in jail. So he ends up So it almost all happened, but he ended up in jail, and I don't know how long he's going to be in there for, but it might as well be life, because when he gets out, no one it'll be, I don't know, 10 years from now or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that guy, we had a little bit of a beef. It was for kind of a stupid reasons. He just kind of went after some of my exes that I was with, and I was kind of like, whatever, but I got over it. I was training at Extreme Couture, and then he comes into our gym, and I basically greenlit his ass, and I was like, all right, I'm going to fuck this guy up. So that's basically what happened. And then after that, he was kind of cool and made some, like, informal, weird apology over Twitter to me. Mm. And then I kind of was just like, all right, whatever, I'll just kind of let it go. You know, after that, we were kind of training together, so I let it go. And then I think maybe 6 to 8 months later, that's when he got in all that shit and almost killed Christy Mack. And then now he's in jail for, I don't even know how long. Long time.
I don't know how many years he got, but the guy had it made. I would feel bad for him, but he had it made. Just stop what you're doing. Like he's one of those guys who, for whatever reason, he always has to prove that he's tough. We understand that you're tough. You fought in the UFC. You fought in Bellator. We get it. We know you're tough.
I know.
Just give it a rest.
That guy needs to smoke some fucking weed. That could have saved him. Could have saved his whole career. But I don't know, man. That guy, he's just crazy. Yeah. Always just, he had a chip on his shoulder, you know. There's always something, and this person's out to get him, and real different guy. I even after it all, I still kind of feel bad for him, you know, even though he invited all that, and it's all his fault. But God, I mean, he had a lot, and he's a character of a person, and he had a good fan following, and he was doing some things with his alpha male brand or whatever, and I was kind of, you know, thinking after we kind of squashed it, I was kind of thinking, oh, this guy's kind of, you know, maybe he's going to be okay. Maybe, you know, he can make some money off of how crazy he is and his personality type and, you know, his whole thing. And him and Christy kind of were like, oh, like maybe this will work out. But then, of course, he just fucked it all up. Mm-hmm. And, that's kind of what happens, I guess.
The one interaction I had with him, he was a really nice guy to me. Like, I don't really mean to say bad things about the guy, but he could have been a huge star in MMA. He was doing a lot of things, and, you know, if he would have got everything together, he could have made a real run in Bellator. They were giving him some good opportunities, and that clothing line, I do alpha male shit, that's a great clothing line because it really isn't attached to him. Like, anyone could wear that shirt. You don't have to be an MMA fan. You can just be the average Joe who just wants to see that, you know, or wants to wear that shirt just because it's a good slogan. And so I thought he was turning the corner, and then that happened. I'm like, oh my goodness, and I was always worried about him because when he was winning, all right, you know, I think he's going to do well. But then when he loses, because anyone can be feeling great and saying all the right things when they're winning, but then when he lost to Ron Kessler, I was like, okay, now we're going to see how this guy, you know, if he really has changed. And obviously he didn't, because then, you know, 6 months later after that fight, that's when he got arrested. So
yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on all that. I think that he had a lot of value that he could have used, and you know, he could have made some money. And I thought of the thing about MMA, it's everyone has a lot of passion for it. A lot of fighters are in this sport, but they don't make a lot, especially if you're not at the top level of the biggest shows. We're not getting paid that much, and you know, you're scrapping together to get these sponsors and do this, and just as a fighter, and then kind of put it in these different directions, and he was making something out of himself. So I was like, cool, man. Like, I was like, I wasn't proud of him, but I was like, as a fighter to another fighter, I was like, that's pretty cool, you know. I hope that he does well, and, you know, things progress from there. And then that he got into it and fucking lost it all. So yeah. So, it's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, too bad. Anyways, back to you. Favorite food?
Favorite food, I would say lasagna or pasta. I'm like, I don't know how much. I'm a mutt, but I'm a good amount Italian, so I like my pasta and lasagna.
What were you eating a minute ago?
Sorry about that. I was training from 10 a.m. till then. I didn't get any food in me this morning, so I had to scarf something down. But I went to Skinny Fats. It's right next to Extreme Couture, and I ate a turkey burger and quinoa soup. So
okay,
healthy stuff.
Okay.
I gotta eat a little bit more because I know Kevin Casey's cutting down from a decent weight. I don't know what he started to cut out, but everyone tells me he's a big boy. So I literally, after training today, I weighed 188. So I'm like, I better go to Skinny Fats to get some food in me.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Bellator gives me a welterweight fight after this fight. I'm hoping I could just get in there and make quick work of Kevin Casey. No disrespect to him, but, it's just a fight's a fight. I want to get in there and do my best and get this W. And then I'd love to go down to welterweight and then kind of go after the welterweight to Bellator and see how that kind of works for me.
I like that. I think that would be a good move for you to go down to welterweight because right now the Bellator welterweight division is nasty. There's so many great fighters that are in that division. It's probably top to bottom the best division in Bellator right now, and I'd love to see you fight the winner or the loser of the co-main event for January 21st, the fight between Paul Daly and Brennan Ward. I think either one of those guys would put on a great fight against you. So I'd love to see you fight one of those guys, and there's other names in Bellator that I wouldn't mind seeing you fight. So I think it's a great idea, but why are you thinking about going down to welterweight? Is it because you're walking around lighter than ever and it's possible that you can make that weight now, or is it because you like the division and you think there's a lot of great matchups for you at 170 in Bellator?
It's a little bit of both. I do like the division. The 85 guys they're just big boys, and they cut down from a lot. And at that high level at 185, honestly, I don't see myself doing as well. But I think at a welterweight level, a lot of people tell me when I train with them, and all the people I've trained with, they're like, "Wow, you're really, really strong still, and this and that, and you're strong like a light heavyweight and this and that." So I'm like, "Yeah, man, I would love to be that strong and be at welterweight." And now I'm at that weight where, if I'm in training camp and I'm about right now, I literally have been eating everything I wanted. I mean, I don't go crazy and go eat like horrible food or anything, but I eat a good amount at home, and then I eat whenever I want. I have no specific diet. I just try to eat as clean as possible, but I eat a lot. So, and my weight is still pretty low, so I can't imagine when I actually am on a real diet and really cutting down my calories and eating super, super clean, and then I'm walking around at 85 and then cutting to 70. I think my strengths would be that much better. So.
Favorite TV show, and it can be a show currently on the air or a show no longer on the air, just overall favorite TV show.
You know what? This is so new, but have you seen that show Black Mirror?
Oh, yeah. Many times.
I just watched a couple episodes of it, and if you asked me this a week ago, I'd probably say Bob's Burger, which is a funny little cartoon show on Netflix, but
right.
Now I would say Black Mirror. It's a really interesting, intriguing show. I'm really fascinated by it. I'm obsessed right now. So that's my new favorite show as of now.
Favorite band and or solo artist?
Favorite band or solo artist? I would have to say favorite band, like rock band. I like Avenged Sevenfold a lot. I used to be buddies with Matt Shadows for a little bit. I went to a couple of his concerts, and always kind of liked their music. They're kind of like the only hard rock band out there, I'd say. And I like Lil Wayne a lot though too for rap. I like Lil Wayne, and
Person you look up to the most?
Person I look up to the most? That's a good question. I'd probably say Dan Henderson. I've watched him in a lot of his fights coming up, and I was just such a huge fan of that guy, and just the way he carries himself and what he represents and how he is. It's one of the reasons I went to Team Quest back in 2008. And even to this day, I really like the person Dan is and how he is as a person and a fighter. So, yeah, I really do look up to him, and there's some others I haven't written down somewhere. But off the top of my head, I'd say Dan.
What's your pet peeve?
I hate when people just bitch about things that they can change, but they just like to complain and bitch about them continuously, no matter what it is. And I've always hated that about a lot of different people that I've came in contact. Not people that I'm close with, but just in general. I just hate when people complain about things that they could change, or that just no use in complaining. You're just wasting energy, and then not only are you wasting energy, you're just polluting the air around people around you. Like, people don't want to hear that. People don't care about your complaints. If there's something that's going wrong in your life, then you should probably just fix it or suck it up and deal with it. Either way, because I don't know, I just think it's stupid when people complain about things especially things they can change. I'm not talking about something like family dies or something like that. That's not really complaining. That's mourning over something, but something that you can change is something that's really petty. I just hate complainers, whiners, people whining. I hate whiny people. So I'd say that's my pet peeve.
What's the best thing that ever happened to you?
Best thing that's ever happened to me? That is a good question. My girlfriend, meeting her was one of the best things that's happened to me.
What's the worst thing that ever happened to you?
I'm sure there's something worse that I can't think of anything, so I'm going to kind of bring up this instance. When I was like 15 years old in high school, I was real quiet in high school. I had a little bit of a stutter, and I wasn't like the most savvy when I would talk and this and that, so I was into fighting, and everyone liked to, throw fights, and Keith will fight him, and I'd, fight all these random guys and do all this stuff. So I'd always like to be the center of wherever it was, and I was driving down the road with all my friends after a party. I didn't drink, so I was like the designated driver, and I had a little Nissan Maxima, so I thought it was all cool. I had a system. I had all my buddies in my car, and I used to have all these like random boxing matches that my friends would put me up against random guys, and I'd fight other guys from other towns, and I was like Mr. Cool in high school in that sense. And I remember one night I was with all my friends, and we were driving down the road after a party, and all my friends were a little intoxicated, and I was driving down the road, and I see these two Mexican gentlemen just kind of walking on the street. One of them, they look kind of gangster-like, and I always like to pick fights with people that looked the part, looked real tough, because I guess I felt that would add some value to my toughness. Oh, damn, Keith beat up these tough guys, or whatever. So my friend goes, hey, you should just fight those guys. Fuck those guys. It was these two random guys. I don't know what they were doing. It was late at night. It was probably like 1 a.m. It was in Temecula. I grew up in Marietta, so it's close by my hometown. And I was like, all right, forget it. So like a dumbass, I stopped my car, and I just started like yelling at these guys, like just talking shit, like whatever I was saying. I don't really recollect what I was saying, but I was just kind of talking shit. And then these guys were no one to talk shit to. They looked at me like, what's up, motherfucker, I go, oh shit. So the first guy kind of comes at me fast, and he had a knife, and I didn't know. I didn't even see the knife on him or anything. I guess I got that tunnel vision of, being in a street fight. And I came after this guy, and I just was kind of swinging wild, trying to knock this guy out. And I didn't end up knocking him out, but somehow we got on the ground, and I got on top of him, and I was punching him, and then his friend comes behind me and stabs me in the back. And I remember, like, feeling this really, really sharp pain in my back. I'm like, oh, crap, what was that? And I kind of brushed it off, and I kept fighting this guy. But then I felt all this. I thought at the time that it was, I don't know why I thought this, but I'm like, what is all this water all over me? And but it was blood gushing from my arm, because when I first came in contact with the first guy, he was trying to like stab me in the chest or wherever, but it ended up getting my arm and just ripped my arm open to my artery. So I was already bleeding all over from that guy, and the other guy stabbed me in the back, and I ended up getting off that guy, and the other guy ran away, and the guy that I was on top of, he ended up running away too, and I was kind of, hobbling back to my car, and almost passed out, and just literally almost died. It was just kind of a big wake-up call to just feel like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I don't know what it was. I just always was the fighter, and from that, my energy, I had my first amateur fight when I was like 16. So like a year later, I was like, I'm gonna do this as a sport and as something that I'm gonna compete in, and I'm not gonna street fight anymore. And it kind of just really brought me down to earth and humbled me. And almost dying that night, I rushed to the hospital. I lost a lot of blood, so I had to get blood transfusions, and it was kind of a traumatic thing. I mean, my mom was a single mom, and she did so good raising me and my sister, and it was just seeing her, in the hospital, and hearing that I picked some fight with these guys, and then these guys ended up, almost killing me. But it was all my fault. It was all because of I wanted to get out and act tough and pick a fight with two random dudes, because they're like, oh, you can fight them both, you can beat them both up, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, I can, whatever. So so I thought that was something bad at the time that happened to me, and but at the same time, it ended up being something good that kind of changed me as a person, and I started acting a little different, and my mindset changed a lot after that.
Wow, what a story! A good lesson learned there, I'd say. Yeah. Sure. That was probably one of the worst. I still have this big old scar on my arm, and I obviously have a scar on my back from those. And people are always like, it's a weird big scar on my arm, because it's looks like a big smiley face through my whole arm into my heart. And, everyone's like, oh, what happened? You got bit by a shark, or got bit by a dog or something? I go, no, I actually got stabbed when I was younger. So it's a cool little story to remember, but I don't mess around with street fight. I've been in street fight since, just because things happen, but nothing like picking a fight or anything like that. I just do my own thing, and I keep my mouth shut, and you never know what's what. And, even though professional fighter or not, there's people that have never had a professional fight in their life, but they've been doing mixed martial arts, they've been doing some combat training, and they could just fucking kill you. And another guy that I would train with at Team Quest, he was kind of the same way like that in Temecula, and it seems like everyone gets stabbed in Temecula, but he ended up getting stabbed as well, and he ended up dying, and that was last year. And he got in a street fight down in downtown Temecula, and same kind of thing. And then they ended up, he died that night. He didn't make it to the hospital in time, and he bled out. And it just kind of reminded me, it's like, it's not worth it. And street fights are definitely not something that ever pays off, So, oh boy, yeah, some scary stuff right there.
Yeah, it's
for sure.
It's a random story, but there it is.
Some people are afraid of spiders, some people are afraid of heights, some people are afraid of the dark. What are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of?
Knives?
I actually even though I like to go in the water and I love to swim at the beach and stuff, I'm afraid of sharks. I really am. I don't like them. They got those black fucking eyes, and they're just like prehistoric dinosaurs that are in the water, and they just rip you apart. So I've always, especially in Southern California, I've always had this weird thing. Whenever I've been out there surfing or body surfing or swimming out there, you can't see. And I've been to Hawaii a lot, and you can go in Hawaii and you can kind of dive down in there, and you could run on the bottom of the sand with the rocks, and you could see everything. It's real clear. I know there's sharks more out there than there is in Southern California, but I feel like you could see them coming. But in California, the water's big, so you don't. So I don't know. It just creeps me out. Number one, and then number two, they're just scary as shit. I just don't like sharks at all. So I'd say the worst thing you could do is throw me in a 100 by 100 tank full of fucking sharks with dark blue water in it. That would be the worst.
Number one thing on your bucket list?
Number one thing on my bucket list. I've never been to Australia, but I don't know. I've always wanted to go there. I've heard a lot of good things, and I'd love to just backpack through Australia and just check out the whole country. I know it's huge, but check out maybe ayahuasca in Peru, like a shaman or something. It was really, really eye-opening, and life-changing. Either one of those.
What's your hidden talent?
Hidden talent? don't think I got one, man. Fuck. That's another good question. I wish you would have told me some of these questions before. Maybe I could have prepared. I could have made some shit up. But it's kind of good to kind of get somebody on the fly and you get the candid, real answers. So, hidden talent. Let me think about this one for a second. Let me think.
Okay.
I'm kind of handy. I'm handy with a lot of things. Fixing things. I like to fix stuff. So if something breaks, I usually figure out a way. If I don't know what it is, I just go, I figure out a way to make it work. So I guess fixing stuff would be a hidden talent I have. I like to get my mind into stuff and fix stuff. So, yeah.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change and why?
If I could change one thing about the world, what would I change and why? If I could change one thing, I would take away money. And I would just, I would want to see what it would be like for just wipe money off the world, and then just to see everyone just share their resources with every country. A lot of countries have a lot of different piled up resources that they have, so everyone just shares everything. Takes it, like, obviously Africa, they probably need a lot of food and stuff, and here in America we waste a lot of food, so just ship half of our food over there and vice versa. They have a lot of this, then ship it over here. And I would think it would be really cool to see this money taken away from the situation and everything, taking a lot of people's ego out of everything, a lot of wealthy people in the world, and I just like to see what the world would be like if there was no money. Obviously people would still do their jobs and do things for some type of barter or some type of system, but it would be cool just to see everyone living comfortably and people not starving or killing each other over some stupid stuff. I guess it's kind of a world peace, kind of a split off of world peace, I guess. But yeah, something like that. Greed, I guess I would say, take away the greed and money out of the world.
Yeah, I agree. Greed is the worst thing. There's people who will sacrifice their own personal safety and their family's safety to just satisfy their desire for money.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm with you.
And that's just a sad thing to see. So, yeah.
Joe Rogan has a similar theory to what you were talking about, where he said, what if we give everyone money for like to live and to eat? Like, what would we be able to accomplish? Like, there's a lot of people who do bad things out of desperation. What if we take desperation out of the world? What would happen then? I always think that theory that he has is very interesting. I don't know too much about what he's saying, but
I agree with that. Like something like some type of amount of money that you would give someone every month.
Yeah.
That, their family could live, and and every person gets that amount or something, and then it would kind of take a lot of. I'm sure some people would still be fuck ups, but I think it would do a lot of good though in the world, and things would change in a positive way. I agree. I like Joe Rogan a lot. He's like someone else I look up to a lot, and I listen to a lot of his podcasts and stuff. He's a really cool guy, and I like a lot of his views, and I agree with a lot of stuff that guy says, and super interesting guy, and always has a lot of cool things to say. So
yeah, he's a very interesting guy. A lot of people just think that he's this comedian, if you know him from his comedy, and if you know him from fighting, you just think that he's this commentator guy, but he's really a well-rounded guy through and through. Like, he knows so much about. He has so many different things that he's knowledgeable about. It's kind of shocking sometimes. You're like, how does this guy know so much about this and that? And he just has a really good way of putting things, and he's just like he's all around, just like you said, all around knowledgeable, cool guy. And he never makes like wacky claims. Like, he's really well thought out. He just never shoots from the hip and just says what comes out of his mouth. Like, he really, really researches what the topics that he's talking about. Like, he just doesn't really go off like a lot of these other people who, I'll just say something and then maybe at a later date I'll do the research and find out if I'm right or not. Like, he really is well thought out. He's a smart dude. He's really, it seems, from all the stuff I've seen him and heard about him and listened to him talk, he's just, well thought. Well, he's really, really intelligent guy, and that's something to really look up to, obviously. Yeah. And it doesn't hurt that he's the best color commentator in the history of combat sports.
I just love. Yeah, I like his personality. At the moment, I keep thinking about is when Nate Diaz beat Conor McGregor, and he goes, "I'm not surprised, motherfuckers," and then Joe just laughs so hard, and it's just the same way I felt when Nate Diaz said that. I was just laughing my ass. I just thought that was the funniest, just like the perfect thing to say after such an epic battle, and so much, so much going on in that fight, and then he go ahead and says that, and then you just see Joe just thought that was the funniest thing in the world, just laughed so hard. I really enjoyed what Nate said, and then Joe's laugh was just as entertaining as everything. So, yeah.
He needs to get you on. He needs to interview you. That's what I want to see. That would be.
I need to win this fight with Kevin Casey, and then I think I'll be up to par to maybe get an interview with him. That'd be cool.
Well, grab the mic. Now I'm giving you advice. Grab the mic and say that you need to do that, or do a promo. Like I can't remember who it was. Nick Diaz, somebody. It's the Train by Day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day. That you need to do something like that. You need to cut a promo. Take a page out of Chael Sonnen's book. Your boy Chael Sonnen. Take a page out of his book and cut a promo. And I'm sure you're a local guy. I mean, you're not that far away from where Joe Rogan records his stuff, so I'm sure he'll.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think that would be super cool. Yeah, definitely.
Well, Keith, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you want to say to the fans?
Sponsors I'd like to thank. Gentleman's Fight Club. They've been sponsoring me for years. Really, really cool guy. Denny, I really appreciate everything he's done for me and always helping me out. And then Soligen Corp, they're a computer hardware company out of Newport Beach. They've also sponsored me for a while. Really cool guys. And Mentum Eyewear. So, and that's it. That's it. I really appreciate you having me on, and everyone just kind of check out that fight next Saturday for Bellator 170, January 21st. And, it's going to be a very exciting fight, and a lot of my fights have been, and I'm not going to hold anything back on this fight, let me tell you. I'm super hungry and super motivated, and mentally I feel great. So I think this is going to be a really, really good fight for me. And very, very entertaining. It won't be boring, I promise you guys that.
Keith, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it, and best of luck against Kevin Casey.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you having me on. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.